can get all the feats you need to do this playing in Krynn by 6th level?
By 6th level, you know, because I'm Nerdarchy Ted.
I'm Nerdarchy Steve. Welcome to Nerdarchy. 4 nerds, by nerds.
All right, we got another Unearthed Arcana. This time we're talking about Dragonlance Revisited.
Yeah, so we're going to do one of our Unearthed Arcana reviews, Dragonlance Revisited, which means we've already no, it's Krynn Revisited. Heroes of Krynn Revisited.
Yes.
Right? Which means we've already been here before. And so we're not going to go like through every single thing. We're going to go through the changes, and we will put a link to the previous video up here in one of the cards so you can check it out and see what we had to say about everything before. We want to look at, but now we want to look at the things that have changed. There's nothing to talk about here on the lunar sorcery sorcerer's origin, because they're just moving ahead with that one.
Yeah, so as is, they like what they put together. So that is not being addressed in this particular Unearthed Arcana. So whatever changes, if any, they're not letting us know. We'll see what that looks like when we get the Dragonlance book.
And they also removed one of the feats.
They did indeed, and you know, so we'll only go through the things that are actually in this one with this particular video. Why not come check out the pre-order for Mage Forge? It's our deck of magic item tarot-sized cards that you can add into your 5th edition game. Each item is going to come with its own unique piece of art and the item description on the back. Jump down to the description below, find that link to that pre-order page, and get your copy today.
Yep, it's your last chance to get Kickstarter exclusives from the Mage Forge Kickstarter. Links, card, description, you know the drill.
All right, so let's actually pull out the Unearthed Arcana and kind of get into it.
All right, so the first page, as usual, the way they do the Unearthed Arcana when it involves races now is, you know, most of the stuff is just kind of whatever you want to make it. You don't have to worry about stats and things that would be more associated with culture are no longer in, you know, the purview of the races. That is, you can just kind of choose those things.
Right. So the Kender, they actually had a really great story beforehand. Dave is a major fan of Dragonlance. I only read the first 3 novels. I never played in Dragonlance, but I've seen Kender in games. I find them amusing. And the fact that they changed the lore with the last Unearthed Arcana wasn't really thrilled with. So they kind of gone back to their original origin story. During the mythical origins of Krynn, Vehovec's god of craft indulged in an age of unfettered creation. Many people sprang from his divine forge, but not all among them remained as the gods created them. Altered by unbridled magic, a group of gnomes were transformed and gifted almost supernatural curiosity and fearlessness. These were the first Kender. Originating on the world of Krynn, Kender are diminutive humanoids that look like humans with pointed ears and diverse appearances. Kender have a supernatural curiosity that drives them to adventure. Due to this inquisitiveness, many Kender find themselves falling through portals to other planes and worlds. Kenders sometimes amass impressive collections of curiosities. Some might collect mundane knickknacks or relics from magical sites, while others might become professional thieves.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, it's a super interesting and cool backstory for the Kender people. Compared to, like, they just, I don't even know why they decided, but they're like, they went with the, you know, Dragonlance, and all of a sudden they're connected to the Feywild.
They're connected to the Feywild, which, you know, to my recollection, doesn't have a strong presence in Krynn or with Dragonlance. I imagine it wasn't a everywhere.
Thing. Like it was AD&D. Krynn was AD&D, so the concept of the Feywild didn't exist. I mean, obviously you would have different realms that would be connected to fairies and stuff like that, but it didn't have it. And also they weren't strong themes in Dragonlance anyway. So this is much better. It's more towards the original story. The original story was cool. It wasn't broken. There was no need to fix it.
You know, the Kender used to have this magical pocket that they could pull random things out of that, you know, while fun and interesting, it was designed to kind of prevent the klepto mechanic of what the Kender were known for. But it really, I feel, takes away from who the Kender were originally created to be. You know, they used to get advantage on anything with related to fear. Now they're just immune to the frightened condition, which actually fits far better to what the original story is. They now have Kender Curiosity. Thanks to the mystical origin of your people, you gain proficiency with one of the following skills of your choice: Insight, Investigation, Sleight of Hand, Stealth, or Survival. Which I love when races get skills, because like I like skill monkey characters. I think they're far more useful. They still have their taunt ability. It used to be supernatural. Now it's just considered an extraordinary ability.
Yeah, which makes sense. It's just like, it's what they're good at. So that's pretty much Kender in a nutshell. They just made a couple tweaks, but I mean, I feel like those tweaks made them so much better, so much truer to what I feel like the Kender were in Dragonlance. Kudos to the Wizards of the Coast. I felt heard on that one, and they fixed it. So next up is backgrounds and bonus feats. So one of the issues we had with the previous Heroes of Krynn was the backgrounds gave feats, right? Access to feats. There's 2 new backgrounds. They gave access to feats. And, I kind of hate it from a design standpoint because none of the other backgrounds give that perk. So to me, it automatically makes these so much better. I understand that they want to explore different themes and have different things that happen in different campaign settings that set that world apart. Mythic Odyssey of Theros did a great job. They just added a new component to the game that everybody got access to. That made it work. It didn't make any choice that you might make from a previous supplement or game perspective irrelevant anymore. But this did.
Yeah. So like if you looked at Strixhaven or the Dragonlance backgrounds, they offered legitimate mechanical benefits, and that just kind of like makes my spine cringe. But it's like, no, like so if I don't take one of these new backgrounds, I'm out, mechanical benefits that other players are going to get. Now I'm not, some super munchkin that I have to have, the best possible character with everything that I do. But there's an aspect of making useful characters. And if newer material is proving superior, and making the other things therefore inferior, that lessens the desire to play those overall.
So I really enjoy the fix. The fix is everyone at first level in Krynn, you get a bonus feat. If you don't choose one of the backgrounds from Krynn, right? So if you take any of the others, you can take Divinely Favored, that's in this document, Skilled from the Player's Handbook, Tough from the Player's Handbook. So there's 3 feats. Everyone's going to get one. They're decent feats, super sweet. And then at 4th level, everyone gets access to a new feat. And there's the Adept of the Black Robes, the Red Robes, the White Robes, Alert, Knight of the Crown, Rose Sword, Mobile, Sentinel, Warcaster. So there's a bunch of options and there's a bunch of choices that you can get. And whether you choose to take a background from here with the Knight of Solamnia or the Mage of High Sorcery, either way, you're not creating an inferior character if you choose not to take part in those things that exist in Krynn.
So if you go multi-class, you would still get that when your total character level would be 4th. But if you wind up going as a single class character, you would actually be getting 2 feats at 4th level when you would do this. So if you're playing in Dragonlance, you are going to have 2 feats higher than everyone else, or any characters not playing in Krynn. So those are the things to kind of look at. And I guess, the war-torn world needs to breed more powerful characters, and I guess, that's a design choice.
There was some very minor tweaks to the backgrounds themselves.
So under Knight of Solamnia, you used to get a language and an instrument. Now it's just 2 languages of your choice.
So the features stayed the same. You're just going to get access to the Knight of Solamnia feat, the Squire of Solamnia for choosing that. What about the Mage of High Sorcery? Were there any changes there?
The Mage of High Sorcery stays, pretty much word for word. There might be some, flow changes to what's there, but mechanically everything is going to pretty much stay the same. There's no real things to kind of get at, other than you get access to the feats, and the feats, had some changes over the course of, what you get.
All right, so that brings us to the Dragonlance feats themselves.
So there is the Adept of the Black, the Red, and the White. And they have two different things that they get access to. They get access to one spell that's second level of your choice from two different schools of magic and a secondary ability. In each of those choices of spell schools, each of them wound up having a change. With the black robes, it's now enchantment or necromancy, and it used to be evocation or necromancy. With the red robes, it's illusion and transmutation, where it used to be divination and transmutation. And then with the white robes, you're going to get abjuration and divination, where instead of divination, it used to be conjuration. Beyond those minor changes, those things completely stayed the same.
Yeah, and I felt like the changes were made for two reasons. One was to make them a little bit more thematic, and the other was, I think it is a little bit of a power balance as well, because, you know, switching away from evocation and necromancy, like they're two pretty strong schools, especially, and they tend to be very like offensive,
yes,
in nature.
I definitely like that change, and giving white access to divination, I think, was a really strong choice, because that's to me, when I think white robes, divination is the go-to, like
protection and knowledge.
Yeah, so like that was definitely the way I would have leaned. So I guess other people provided that kind of feedback as well. So once you add divination to white, you got to remove it from red. Well, what is red going to get? So like it wound up making this little, change and weakening the black robes to give them enchantment. Enchantment's got some really great spells. Taking away second level evocation spells, I don't think hurts them too bad, because Evo has got some strong first and thirds, so like, it's not like a serious stab in the gut.
And that's all that changed for them, right?
For those three feats, yes, those remain completely the same. All of their secondary abilities of the feat, all of the extra things in regards to the spells that you get, all remain the same. It was just that school selection that's different.
Now, as we mentioned, Divine Communication kind of got kicked out, but part of it found its way into Divinely Favored.
Indeed. So Divinely Favored used to be, you got a specific cantrip, thaumaturgy, and a spell of, the selected school. You now you learn one cantrip of your choice, and you get one first level spell of your choice from the specific, list. If you're evil, it's a warlock. If you're good, it's a cleric spell. If you're neutral, it's a druid spell. And then when you choose this ability, you can choose whether it's intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. And when you cast that spell, you use that chosen stat. So you could absolutely be like, I'm going to play a wizard. I'm going to get a cleric spell because I'm a good guy, and I'm going to apply my intelligence modifier, to that particular spell because that's what I'm choosing. And then when you do that, you can also use Holy Symbol as a spellcasting focus with the spell casting ability modifier that you associate with this particular feat. So you could really be like, I want to play a divine wizard, and I'm going to get this feat right at first level. So boom, I'm human and I'm doing this.
Yeah. Then all your spells are cast through your Holy Symbol. You also get another spell too. You get a second level spell, Augury, right? And that used to be part of Divine Communication,
yes,
which got lumped in with this, and you get a free casting of each of them. So Divinely Favored actually got a bit of an upgrade, but they got rid of Divine Communication.
Yeah, they kind of chopped these two feats apart and assembled Divinely Favored to make it a little bit easier. I like Augury. I think it's a great spell. I think it's very underused. So adding it into an already really good spell, or adding it into a really good feat, I think is going to allow it to be far more useful.
Now, the next one, Initiate of High Sorcery, that also had quite a few changes.
So, number one, they added the prerequisite of Sorcerer or Wizard class. It used to just be the only way to get it was to take the background, the High Sorcery, the Mage of High Sorcery background. So, if you didn't take that background before, you would not be able to become the Initiate. But now, you can get access to it, that way. And while that's not a major change, mechanically, it's a way that, it's done
I think what it does is it allows you to be connected to the moons or even to that organization and opening up your background choices to something else, right? Because you can still do it all at first level, but maybe so like at first level, if you're human, you could still be part of that order or later join that order and have that connection without taking that background. Like maybe you want a criminal background, then you had a shady past, and then you found salvation through the Tower of High Sorcery.
Now, there was a mechanical change to it. It used to be one cantrip and one spell, or one first level spell, but now you're getting 2 first level spells. It used to be from a broader list. Now it's very much limited. So like depending upon which moon, you can choose 2 from the list. So like the first one you get Dissonant Whispers, False Life, Hex, or Ray of Sickness. Second one is you have 2 of your choice from Color Spray, Disguise Self, Featherfall, or Longstrider. And then the last one, you can choose 2 from Comprehend Languages, Detect Evil and Good, Protection from Evil and Good, and Shield. So there's definitely a lot of strong choices and a number of things that are kind of midland choices in there, depending upon the type of character that you're playing.
Yeah, and the whole thing with that too is before you had I believe it was like a class list. When we say broader, it was a huge swath of spells you could choose from. Now it's narrowed down, but you get a little bit more than you got before. Which really, if you pick this background and you play human and you take Magic Initiate, you could really start packing on the spell casting at first level.
Yeah, you could definitely get a lot of extra castings, and that's apart from Fey Touch and Shadow Touch that are out there. So you can definitely keep adding in all these extra castings and become a really diverse caster, regardless of what type you actually are.
Now, so next up is the Knight feats, right? And there's 3 of them, one for the crown, the sword, and the rose.
All right, so all 3 of these have gone through some major changes. They used to have a number of other abilities that
varied.
That were very varied. Now all of them get an aspect of superiority dice. So Knight of the Crown, you're going to get Crown maneuvers. You learn the Distracting Strike or the Goading Attack maneuver from the Battle Master. It calculates the same way, with Strength or Dex as your primary stat. And whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace the maneuver you learn from this feat with the other maneuver offered by it. So you can flip back and forth, which I do think is a really neat feature. This one gives you 2 dice that are D8s, but based on my reading, because you have to have the Squire of Solamnia, which offers superiority dice and and maneuvers, it says all of your dice are now D8s, so it would upgrade those ones. The Knight of the Sword gives you the sword maneuvers, so you can choose between maneuvering or menacing attack. You again have the ability to, calculate it with strength or dex, and you can flip-flop it when you finish a long rest. This one also does give you another 2 dice. Knight of the Rose gives you the Rose maneuver, so you learn either the Commander Strike or the Rally maneuver. Everything else is the same, 2 dice. Switch them on a long rest. So there's 3 feats right there that could give you a total of 6 superiority dice, which that in and of itself is just as many as you get from being a fighter battle master at 17th level.
Now, also, I think the Knight of the Rose is now a half feat, and it wasn't before.
All of them are now half feats as well. Knight of the Crown, you can increase Dex or Strength. Knight of the Sword is Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma, and Knight of the Rose is Con or Charisma. So depending upon how you want to play, you could totally grab all 3 of these feats, get 3 different stat, half stat bumps, over the course, as well as gain all of these maneuvers.
Which one wasn't a half feat before?
The Knight of the Sword used to gain proficiency in Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma saves. So that one I feel like definitely is a step down.
Yeah.
But when you compare that to Resilient, which was just, you gain the proficiency, I feel like it needed that if you're going to make the sweeping change of all of them now get maneuvers.
Yeah, I mean, so it's cool that we got the maneuvers, but also at the same time, some of the abilities were kind of interesting and used like the hit dice mechanics, which if we think are way underused in the game, and there was more variety in them. And now it's kind of like all the same thing.
Sure.
So I do miss that aspect a little bit, but I also do like the Battlemaster maneuvers and superiority dice.
I am as well. I'm definitely in favor of the maneuvers, but perhaps there are people, far too many people, that their play style is different than ours, and hit dice are absolutely needed for just recovering hit points. Perhaps they do more dungeon delves. They need those short rests to get those hit points back, and therefore having an ability that funnels off of your hit dice winds up becoming wasted. But the Squire of Solamnia...
this one's like a total rewrite.
Yeah, this is essentially an entirely new thing. Everything has been scrapped and changed. They used to get advantage to save versus dismounting. Now it's just, dismounting or mounting only costs 5 feet. And if you've ever gotten onto a horse and, you've seen the people who do it like that, it really is impressive. I don't have a lot of horseback riding experience, but it definitely costs more than 5 feet of movement for me anyway. They used to get martial training where they would get medium armor and martial weapons. That's now completely gone. They used to get encouraging rally, advantage to save as a reaction. That's gone. And they just get access to superior dice and Squire maneuvers. So you learn the lunging attack, precision attack, or pushing attack. Again, calculated the same. Again, you can swap, during a long rest. And then your superiority dice, you gain a number equal to your proficiency bonus. And then these dice are D6s. So if you take this at first level, you're going to get 2 automatically. They start off as D6s. If you wind up taking, any of the night feats, they're all going to get bumped to D8s. As I interpret them, perhaps your DM might view it differently, but it does say all the dice are now D8s.
I interpret it the same way. They're all based off a long rest. So, I mean, and so there's a sidebar, and about the different night feats and also the different orders of knights. It was another one, but basically what it says is, it's common for a Knight of Solamnia to start out Knight of the Crown, but sometimes a lot of times they will go to one of the other orders, or they will stay. So it is not uncommon to have gone through 2 of the orders, right? So, and it says like you can do that, and if you have both of the feats, you don't lose any of the benefits. You can't continue to be a member of both orders, but you don't lose the benefits. And also, there is nothing to keep you from doing all 3 and taking all 3 feats, which would be 6 superiority dice plus your bonus from your proficiency. Plus, you could take Martial Adept for 1 more. And on top of that, you could just be a battle master.
So if you were a battle master who did all of this, you would wind up with a ridiculous, at 17th level, you would have a total of 19 superiority dice. Consult with, sage advice or your GM to figure out if your die would advance from the feats, being improved by your fighter subclass. Some might say, oh, well, the ones you get access from feats are going to remain what they are. Some might say that they're going to all reset on a short rest, where some might say, nope, the ones you get on a feat only reset on a long rest. So that's going to be how you do it at your table.
Well, I will say Martial Adept actually says it operates the same way that your other Battlemaster superiority dice kind of work. So that one's pretty cut and clear. I would say they all become D8s from your feats. They're all reset on a long rest. All the others reset on a short rest. But we figured it out, like, you can get all the feats you need to do this playing in Krynn by 6th level?
By 6th level. Because a fighter is going to get 1 at 4th level and at 6th level. A human who is playing in Dragonlance is going to get 2 feats at first level and another feat at 4th level for playing in Krynn. Combine that with the fighter, it's only 5 feats, so boom, right then and there.
And you still have quite a few ASI bonuses or feats to do other things with as well.
So staying on track, if you go all the way to 20, you will still have an additional 5 feats to play with, or 5 ASIs to either gain stat adjustments or feats. And 3 of the feats that you are taking are going to come with stat bumps associated with them, 2 of which can either, do con or strength or dex. So you are going to be able to bump those things up. So you can definitely plan accordingly and really be the most maneuverable character out there.
So let us know, what do you think? Do you like these changes? Do you hate these changes? We can discuss it down in the comments below with the Nerdarchy community.
While you're down there, don't forget to do all those fun things like share, subscribe, even go ahead and click on that notification bell. You know the drill.
A quick reminder, we drop new videos Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, so come on back. But you can't wait till then. No worries, we've got you covered. There's a card up here, as we already mentioned. For the Heroes of Krynn. You can see the original video in that card.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.